Now we know that our perception comes from our senses. We see, we hear, we smell, we taste, we feel the world around us. Perception comes from our senses, and we know that our feelings come from our thoughts. But where do our thoughts come from? Who initiates the thoughts? The experts in human behavior say that we think about 60,000 thoughts a day. Now that is one thought every second for the 18 waking hours that we're alert during a day on an average. One thought a second. How do we do that? How do we keep up with it all? Well, once again, the mind is ingenious. It's more powerful than we even know. And the mind has a system for maneuvering through life. And when something comes towards us, or we engage in an event or an activity in the world around us, the mind instantly decides whether we accept this or whether we reject it. It compartmentalizes in an instant second. And the way it does that is almost like a siren within the mind. It's a scream. How is this going to make me feel about me? How is this going to make me feel about me? How is this going to make this feel about me? And that determines whether the mind moves towards resistance, towards fear, towards rejection of whatever is going on, or it moves towards accepting it and being okay with it and being at peace with it. And the way it's determined as to how this makes me feel about me is self-confidence. Every single thing that happens in your life falls into one of two categories: self-doubt or self-confidence. When you move in a situation or a circumstance, how does this make me feel about me? Self-confidence says, I can do this. I'm going to be okay. I know what I'm doing. Self-doubt says, I don't know. I don't know about this. How will it look? What will other people think? I can't do this. I don't want to fail. And we start fighting with life, and life becomes the enemy. Self-doubt and self-confidence. Now, once again, every single emotional experience we have is a result of perceiving, thinking, and then feeling. But we have to go back to what causes the thought. And self-confidence causes the thought. And because the mind doesn't have the ability or the power to fully determine the truth of every situation or circumstance, it does a referral. Like, what in my past experience does this situation remind me of? It reminds us of something that was a bad experience, that was an embarrassing experience, it was a miserable experience. We say, well, this is going to be too because it reminds me of that, and we begin to resist. If it's an experience of, I've done this before, I know what I'm doing, I can handle this, it's self-confidence, and we're at peace. Now the problem arises that every once in a while life presents us with a situation that we can't compare it to. If you've been married to somebody for 60 years and your spouse dies, that's a situation that you've never had before. You don't know how to handle it. You don't know what's going on. The mind begins to race. What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? And when the answers don't come forth, the mind becomes set in a fearful state. It becomes set in that nest, that uncomfortable nest. It says, I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave. I don't want this change to take place. We begin to deny what's taking place. Now, let's put this into a hypothetical situation. Every Sunday you come in here, we sit down, shortly after the service begins, we say, let's stand and sing a hymn. And we all do that. It's a great experience for most people. But nonetheless, everybody in here is somewhat comfortable with the experience. You don't have self-doubt, I can't do this. You do it. So let's say one Sunday, perhaps today. Perhaps today we come in, everybody sits down, and says, okay, we're going to sing a hymn now. But I would just like to hear one person do it. And I'm going to pick somebody randomly to sing that hymn. So I begin to look around. And for those of you that are very introverted, you think you can't do this, immediately your heart begins to beat faster. Oh my God, what if he picks me? Only 1 in 1,000 chance, but still, what if he picks me? And as I walk down the aisle, you and I have eye contact. And think, God, how pretty! You slump in your chair and you look at the floor. God, don't pick me. God, don't pick me. Please don't pick me. What is that? I'm asking you to do exactly the same thing as I did stand and sing with everybody. All I'm asking you to do is stand and sing a hymn. Alone. It alone says, what people think. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. And that's the difference between self-confidence and self-doubt. I guarantee any person in the choir, the first time they got up to sing a song, they weren't that good. Robert on the piano, the first time he sat down to play the piano, he wasn't that good. He sees repetition. The more we do something, the better we get at it. And the only thing that holds us back from creating a greater sense of liveliness is our reluctance to engage in life. It's repetition. Every single thing that you've ever done that's a major accomplishment has taken place as a result of repetition. I remember when I was in school, we sat there at our desk for the first time and looked at the alphabet across the top of the room, and the teacher had us print the letters and print the letters and print the letters over and over and over again. And she would grade us. That's a good letter you printed, or that's a bad letter you printed, and that gave us direction on how to create better printing. And once we got that down, then it came to cursive. And then when it teaches us how to write, because it's a little bit faster. And I don't know how it was with you when you went to school, but for me, we had to sit there, and it seemed like for days and days and days, just draw circles on a piece of paper, all the way across the paper, and then straight lines, up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down. And we put that all together, and we began to write letters that connected to each other, and in that same sense, we began to read. We began to read what we were writing. And eventually we came to people that can read and write. But it was just repetition. But the point is, when you're faced with a situation or circumstance in life, especially something that you've never experienced before, it can be frightening. But don't let that frightening prevent you from taking that first step forward. If I pick you to sing a song all by yourself on Sunday morning, the first time it'd be a frightening experience. If I come here every day for 21 days and train under Steve Perry to sing the same song, something very simple, could be the peace song, after 21 days, you would feel pretty much comfortable in singing that song. There'd still be a little stage fright. Once you came out here and sang one time on stage, you'd realize I can do this. Once you came up and sang on stage 21 Sundays in a row, say, this is a piece of cake, I can do it all the time. And once again, the experts in human behavior tell us that the more we do something, the better we get at it, and the more self-confidence we have. It's all about repetition. So the next time you move into a situation or circumstance and you feel that fear come over you, or you feel that resistance, or you feel that dread, accept the fact that there's something here that I need to learn. And when you move into the fear and the dread and the anxiety and the worry, it's like a mist. The more you move into it, the more it disappears. And you realize there's really nothing to worry about at all. Exactly like the young eagles. Once they left that nest for the first time and they flutter down to the ground, you realize there's nothing to worry about. I can fly. So it's time for us to pick ourselves up. Have confidence in what we do. Not worry so much about what the outcome is, but worry more about, the fact that we're going to do it, that we're going to take that first step forward. So as you move into meditation, think about something in your life that is a constant disturbance. Something that perhaps pops up every now and then. It might be another person that pushes your buttons. It might be a situation or circumstance that you fear. It might be a problem that doesn't go away. But just know, what you seek, you will find. And once again, we go back to the forward experiences of creating a reality. When we think about expanse, think confidently, you're going to become a confident person. Because we become what we think about most of the time. Think confident thoughts, your mind is going to be attracted to that world which instills confidence in you. It's a combination of those things that create a reality, whether it's a fearful one or a confident one. And I'll move into meditation.